Chapter 1. What is apple cider vinegar? Apple cider vinegar is made via a two-step process. First, the manufacturer exposes crushed apples to yeast, which ferments the sugars and turns them into alcohol. Next, adding bacteria further ferments the alcohol, turning it into acetic acid, the main active compound in vinegar. Acetic acid gives vinegar its strong, sour smell and flavor. Researchers believe this acid is responsible for apple cider vinegar's health benefits. Cider vinegars are 5 to 6% acetic acid. Organic, unfiltered apple cider vinegar also contains a substance called mother, which consists of strands of proteins, enzymes, and friendly bacteria that give the product a murky appearance. Making apple cider sounds a bit like making wine because the process is similar. The difference is the apple cider vinegar is fermented twice, once to make alcoholic cider and a second time to make it vinegar. Apple cider vinegar's legacy. Vinegar's legacy goes back at least 8,000 years. Vessels with traces of vinegar dating back to 6,000 BCE have been found in Egypt and China. Greek physician Hippocrates recommended it as a treatment for colds and coughs. The Romans carried it in pouches, which was believed that tainted water had been known to ravage armies more effectively than actually going to battle. Vinegar was also thought to help ward off that scourge of militaries throughout history, scurvy. Some current medical research showed signs of health benefits, but the studies were small and incomplete, and there was probably no financial reward in it from big pharmaceutical companies. Why drink apple cider vinegar? As crazy as it may sound at first, drinking apple cider vinegar will bring you many health benefits, which will be discussed in detail later in this book. Aside from health benefits, apple cider vinegar also reduces cravings by inducing a full feeling, which means apple cider vinegar is great for weight loss or for maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Its potential health benefits are found in substances that aren't part of the standard nutrition label. Apple cider vinegar's real claim to fame is acetic acid, which forms during fermentation. This acid may have a variety of health benefits. Apple cider vinegar, with its acetic acid content, is credited for blood sugar control, weight management, reduced cholesterol, and antibacterial properties within the body. Others believe that the mother is responsible for most of its health benefits. We could not find a study to support this, nor could we find a study on the medical benefits of apple cider vinegar. There are some studies available on afflictions that do mention apple cider vinegar as a cure. However, studies are not always done on home remedies or homeopathic alternatives versus prescription drugs, probably because there's no money in homeopathic alternatives. With that said, apple cider vinegar will probably never be recommended by the American Medical Association or our European equivalents. Apple cider vinegar does not contain many vitamins or minerals, though it does offer a small amount of potassium. Potassium helps regulate fluid balance within the body. The body is made of approximately 60% water. 40% of this water is found inside your cells in a substance called intracellular fluid, ICF. The remainder is found outside your cells in areas such as your blood, spinal fluid, and between cells. This fluid is called extracellular fluid, ECF. Potassium is the main electrolyte in the ICF, and it determines the amount of water inside the cells. Conversely, sodium is the main electrolyte in the ECF, and it determines the amount of water outside the cells. Maintaining good fluid balance is important for optimal health. Poor fluid balance can lead to dehydration, which, in turn, affects the heart and kidneys. Eating a potassium-rich diet and staying hydrated can help maintain good fluid balance. Not only that, but apple cider vinegar is filled with beneficial nutrients. A good quality organic apple cider vinegar contains some amino acids, antioxidants, and the following: magnesium, iron, phosphorus, manganese, and apple cider vinegar has natural probiotics, friendly bacteria, and has only 3 calories per tablespoon. Apple cider vinegar is rather harmless, but too much of anything, even a good thing, can cause problems. I will state this multiple times in this book. Health benefits of apple cider vinegar. So, what about those health benefits of apple cider vinegar? This almost magical vinegar can do many things for your health. Let's start with a list and then get into more details in the following chapters. Apple cider vinegar is a natural laxative, and it can improve digestion, can lower blood sugar levels, can improve insulin sensitivity, can reduce cravings by inducing a full feeling, and can help people lose unwanted weight, can reduce belly fat, can lower cholesterol, can lower blood pressure, and can improve heart health, can prevent and decrease the risk of getting cancer, and can slow down the growth of cancer cells. Chapter 2. Blood sugar levels, cholesterol, and blood pressure. Your body needs to move glucose out of the bloodstream and into your cells for energy. To do this, your pancreas makes insulin, a hormone. As a result, your blood sugar level may have a sudden drop. This rapid change in blood sugar leaves you feeling wiped out and shaky and searching for more sweets to regain that sugar high. So, that midday sugary treat has set you up for more bad eating. Think you don't have a sweet tooth, but crave bagels, chips, or French fries? These starchy foods are complex carbs that the body breaks down into simple sugars. Eaten alone or without better foods, starches can make blood sugar surge and crash. White rice and white flour do this. Highly refined starches like white bread, pretzels, crackers, and pasta are the worst. You don't have to give up sweetness, just get it from other sources. Try fresh berries or pureed fruit on oatmeal instead of sugar. Explore fruit that's dried, frozen, or canned without too much added sugar. A glass of low-fat milk or low-sugar yogurt can help. Although there's not much research on apple cider vinegar's impact on type 1 diabetes, one small study in 2010 concluded it could help reduce high blood sugar. Research has shown that including apple cider vinegar in the diet may help lower blood sugar levels and improve insulin sensitivity. It may also help people feel full for longer. After a meal, if you are worried about high blood sugar levels, try 4 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar in about 8 ounces of a good filtered or mountain spring water, with 1/2 teaspoon or 10 drops of 100% lemon juice. At this time, forget the honey or sweeteners. Diabetes. When it comes to apple cider vinegar and diabetes, there are a few things you should know. Apple cider vinegar is great in diabetes prevention, so if you have a family history of diabetes, you should consider drinking apple cider vinegar to help decrease the risk. Apple cider vinegar has been shown to reduce blood sugar levels when one is fasting, not eating, which is incredibly beneficial for people who have difficulty regulating their own blood sugar levels, like those who have diabetes. However, this won't replace medication. A healthy diet and exercise are always recommended for people with or without diabetes. If you have diabetes and take insulin or prescription drugs, you should talk to your doctor before drinking apple cider vinegar, because your potassium levels can drop too much. Reduces the high cholesterol level. High triglyceride and cholesterol levels raise the risk of heart problems, which can increase a person's risk of heart attack and stroke. Evidence suggests that taking apple cider vinegar could help lower both total cholesterol and triglyceride levels to healthy levels. A 12-week study investigated the effects of taking apple cider vinegar in people on a low-calorie diet. The researchers found that participants who took apple cider vinegar not only lost more weight than those who took a placebo, but also had lower triglycerides and total cholesterol levels. The people who took apple cider vinegar also had significantly raised levels of high-density lipoprotein, HDL, or good cholesterol. Doctors sometimes refer to HDL cholesterol as good cholesterol because it can help lower the risk of heart problems. Blood pressure. Other common uses for apple cider vinegar are to lower blood pressure and reduce cholesterol levels. What's the deal with apple cider vinegar and blood pressure? Apple cider vinegar helps in controlling renin, a hormone produced by your kidneys that is responsible for constricting and dilating the blood vessels. When the blood vessels are constricted, the blood pressure rises. Apple cider vinegar keeps the vessels relaxed, and that means the blood pressure won't rise. I found one small study in rats that showed a decrease in systolic blood pressure in rats fed a diet containing acetic acid, compared to those without it. There weren't any studies using apple cider vinegar for high blood pressure in people. High blood pressure is nothing to play with. People have strokes from high blood pressure. If you have high blood pressure, there's simply not enough data to support using apple cider vinegar as a blood pressure medication. Eat a healthy diet, exercise, and take your meds, as prescribed by your doctor. Chapter 3. Antifungal and antibacterial properties prevents infection. According to research, apple cider vinegar has benefits as an antibacterial and antifungal agent. A 2018 study found that undiluted or mildly diluted apple cider vinegar can prevent the growth of Candida yeast. The researchers discovered this effect in a Candida culture, which is a small sample of the cider's capabilities of fighting these bacterial organisms. However, more research is required to discover whether apple cider vinegar works to combat Candida yeast in the human body. It appears that this opportunistic fungus doesn't like apple cider vinegar. Consuming apple cider vinegar could, potentially, make your body less hospitable to fungus, which means it wouldn't allow it to grow out of control and cause an infection. Candida yeast are a group of yeasts that can cause fungal infections in different parts of the body. There are more than 20 different types of Candida, but Candida albicans is the most common cause of infection. Candida also can cause bloating of the stomach, which is mostly mistaken for being overweight. Candida normally live in the body without causing problems. They can be found in the intestines and on a type of tissue called mucous membranes, which line the vagina and mouth. Candida are opportunistic fungi that can grow out of control in the right circumstances. An overgrowth of Candida causes an infection with a variety of symptoms. In the vagina, a Candida infection is commonly known as a yeast infection. An infection in the mouth is called thrush. People with diabetes get yeast infections more often. Candida is typically found in small amounts in the mouth and intestines and on the skin. When Candida begins to grow uncontrollably, it can cause an infection known as candidiasis. In fact, Candida is the most common cause of fungal infections in humans. Men, women, and even babies can have Candida. Typically, the healthy bacteria in your body keeps Candida levels under control, but more often it grows out of control. Below are a few factors that can lead to Candida overgrowth. Taking antibiotics, eating a diet high in sugar and refined carbs, high alcohol intake, a weakened immune system, taking oral contraceptives, diabetes, high stress levels. Listed in more detail are a few symptoms of Candida. 1. Oral thrush. Candidiasis that develops in the mouth or throat is called thrush. It's most common in newborns, the elderly, and those with a weakened immune system. Individuals with poor oral hygiene or removable dentures are also at an increased risk. People with oral thrush typically develop white, bumpy patches on their tongue, inner cheeks, gums, tonsils, or throat. The lesions can be painful and may bleed slightly when scraped. Oral thrush is also often associated with redness or soreness of the tongue and mouth. In very bad cases, it can spread to the esophagus and cause pain or difficulty swallowing. 2. Tiredness and fatigue. One of the most common symptoms associated with Candida is fatigue. While there's no evidence that Candida causes fatigue, there are a couple of ways in which it could contribute to it. First, candidiasis is often accompanied by nutritional deficiencies, such as vitamin B6, essential fatty acids, and magnesium. Particularly, magnesium deficiency has been known to cause fatigue. Second, Candida infections commonly occur when the immune system is weakened. A low-functioning immune system in itself may leave you feeling tired and fatigued. One study suggests that prolonged candidiasis of the gut may even be a potential cause of chronic fatigue syndrome. 3. Recurring genital or urinary tract infections. Candida is found in the vaginal tracts of most women. An overgrowth of it can lead to candidiasis of the vagina, also known as a yeast infection. It's estimated that 75% of all women will get at least one vaginal yeast infection in their lifetime, and half of those will have at least one recurrence. Men can also get genital yeast infections, but it's much less common. Symptoms of vaginal candidiasis include redness, swelling, itching, painful intercourse, and a thick, white discharge from the vagina. Although it's much less common, Candida can also cause a urinary tract infection, UTI. Candida-related urinary tract infections are most common in the elderly, hospitalized, or immune-compromised individuals. Symptoms of a UTI include a burning feeling when you urinate, a frequent urge to urinate, cloudy, dark, or strange-smelling urine, and pain or pressure in your lower abdomen. Although other bacteria like E. coli are more likely to cause UTIs. However, if you suffer from recurring infections and believe they are a result of Candida overgrowth, you can have your urine tested to find out. 4. Digestive issues. The health of your digestive system relies heavily on a good balance between the good and bad bacteria that live in your gut. The good bacteria that normally reside in your gut are important for digestion, as they help process starches, fibers, and some sugars. When the bacteria in your gut become imbalanced, you can experience digestive issues, including constipation, diarrhea, nausea, gas, cramps, and bloating. Bloating is a big one. Recent studies indicate that an overgrowth of Candida is associated with several diseases of the gastrointestinal tract, including ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. 5. Sinus infections. Chronic sinus infections affect 1 in 8 adults in the U.S. Common symptoms include a runny nose, nasal congestion, loss of smell, and headaches. Although short-term sinus infections are mostly caused by bacteria, many longer-term chronic sinus infections are believed to be fungal. A study by the Mayo Clinic looked at a group of 210 individuals with chronic sinus infections and found that 96% of them had fungi in their mucus. Antibiotics are the usual method of treating sinus infections. This may work for acute bacterial sinus infections, but not chronic fungal ones. In fact, treating a chronic sinus infection with antibiotics could actually make it worse. If you have sinus infections that last longer than 1 month, Candida may be to blame. 6. Skin and nail fungal infections. Just like in your gut, there are bacteria on your skin that prevent Candida from growing uncontrollably. All bacteria thrive in different conditions, including varying temperature, moisture, or acidity levels. That's why a change in the environment on your skin can allow candida to overproduce. For example, cosmetics, soaps, and moisturizers can alter skin conditions. Especially the antibacterial varieties are not always good for you. While skin candidiasis can affect any part of the body, areas that are warm and moist, such as the armpits and groin, are particularly prone to infection. Itching and a visible rash are the two most common symptoms of skin fungal infections. An overgrowth of candida can cause conditions like athlete's foot, ringworm, and toenail fungus. While not life-threatening, skin fungal infections can be very uncomfortable and significantly decrease quality of life in the looks department. How to fight candidiasis. The best way to treat candidiasis and prevent recurring infections is to address the underlying cause. The food you eat plays an important role in maintaining the balance of good and bad bacteria in your gut. But if you find yourself eating some of these foods, and if it is unavoidable, 15 minutes after eating, take an 8-ounce glass of water with 3 to 4 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar and 1/2 teaspoon of lemon juice. No honey or sweetener. Refined sugars, carbs, and high-lactose dairy products can encourage candida and other bad microorganisms to grow. Eating too many of these foods may promote infection if you have a suppressed immune system. On the other hand, certain foods have specifically been shown to encourage good bacteria to grow and inhibit the growth of candida. The following foods have been shown to help fight candida infections. If you require medication, speak to your healthcare provider. Garlic. Garlic contains allicin, which has been studied for its potential to treat various kinds of bacterial infections. Coconut oil. Coconut oil is high in lauric acid, which has been shown to fight candida infections. Curcumin may kill candida yeasts, or at least reduce their growth. Aloe vera. Aloe vera gel may inhibit the growth of candida in the mouth and prevent infections. Pomegranate. The plant compounds in pomegranate are beneficial against candida yeasts. Kombucha. Kombucha tea is rich in tea polyphenols and acetic acid, both of which have been shown to kill candida in test tube studies. Probiotics. Probiotics like lactobacillus may reduce candida growth and protect against infections. Apple cider vinegar is a scientifically proven antifungal. Laboratory research shows that it can inhibit the growth of candida cultivating in a petri dish. While it's important to note that a petri dish is much different than a person, you may be able to use diluted apple cider vinegar to treat a yeast infection by ingesting it or applying it directly to the affected area. There's probably little risk to trying this approach. Get rid of candida. Drink the drink. Same drink as used for weight loss. Apple cider vinegar kills bacteria. Did you know apple cider vinegar kills bacteria? In fact, apple cider vinegar was used for disinfecting wounds and treating fungus back in the day. It was, and still is, a great way to treat and prevent infection, because apple cider vinegar can kill bacteria easily. A solution can be used as an underarm wash, vaginal wash, and fabric disinfectant. It also inhibits bacteria, like E. coli, from spoiling food, so that's why it's so often used as a food preservative. It's also natural and better than artificial preservatives. Lyme disease. Lyme disease is caused by infection with the bacterium Borrelia burgdorferi. As Lyme disease can travel throughout your body, apple cider vinegar can be used as a detoxifying remedy. The onset of early disseminated Lyme disease can begin days, weeks, or even months after being bitten by an infected tick. The symptoms reflect the fact that the infection has begun to spread from the site of the tick bite to other parts of the body. So, drink the drink. The same drink used for diet can help fight Lyme disease. Shingles. Shingles, which is a rash caused by the chickenpox virus as a child, can be extremely painful and uncomfortable. Putting apple cider vinegar on the rash can work rather quickly. Apple cider vinegar can help relieve some of the painful stinging and itching of the shingles rash, as well as potentially help cleanse the rash and kill herpes zoster, the virus that causes it. Bad breath. Bad breath can be a sign of bacteria in the mouth. Apple cider vinegar's acidity kills the bacteria that causes bad breath, tooth decay, and many gum infections. Vaginal wash. As many as 1 in 4 women in the United States have bacterial vaginosis, BV. The most common symptom of BV is a foul-smelling, fishy odor coming from the vagina, caused by, you guessed it, bacteria. The antibacterial properties of apple cider vinegar will help alleviate odor. Chapter 4. Skin. Using apple cider vinegar for skin and hair. Aside from the health benefits of apple cider vinegar, using apple cider vinegar can also improve skin appearance and hair health. Apple cider vinegar is indeed amazing. Why apple cider vinegar is great for skin and hair. Treats and reduces the prevalence of acne. Treats and soothes sunburn. Has anti-aging properties. Improves hair health. Combats hair tangles. Reduces hair frizz. Seals the hair cuticles and helps the hair to retain moisture. Insect bites. Kill acne-causing bacteria. Apple cider vinegar is well known for its ability to kill many types of bacteria and viruses. In fact, it has been shown to reduce the numbers of some bacteria by 90% and certain viruses by 95%. A type of bacteria known as Propionibacterium acnes, or P. acnes, contributes to the development of acne. While there isn't much research on the ability of apple cider vinegar to fight P. acnes, there are a few studies on the organic acids it contains. Apple cider vinegar contains acetic, citric, lactic, and succinct acid, all of which have been shown to kill P. acnes. In one study, 22 people applied lactic acid lotion to their faces twice a day for 1 year. Most of them experienced a significant reduction in acne, while only 2 people experienced less than a 50% improvement. Based on the results of these studies, it's possible that applying apple cider vinegar to your skin can control acne-causing bacteria, or even kill it. Hair health. Apple cider vinegar is praised for being rich in vitamins and minerals good for hair, like vitamins C and B. Some also claim it contains alpha-hydroxy acid, which helps exfoliate scalp skin, and that it's anti-inflammatory, which can help with dandruff. Apple cider vinegar balances hair and scalp pH. By lowering the pH of your scalp, apple cider vinegar flattens and closes the hair cuticle. This makes your hair smoother and easier to detangle, shinier, less frizzy, less prone to breakage, and more moisturized. Don't overdo it. Maybe use it twice a week or as needed. Dandruff. 2 causes of dandruff are an excess of the bacteria Malassezia yeast and a scalp pH imbalance. Apple cider vinegar has both antibacterial properties to kill off yeast and a highly acidic pH which can help balance out the scalp. Sunburn. Applying an apple cider vinegar solution to sunburned skin is a tried and true sunburn remedy. A natural astringent, apple cider vinegar soothes the pain and speeds up the healing process. Additionally, the acetic acid in apple cider vinegar helps ease itching and inflammation. You may want to dilute it. Anti-aging. Apple cider vinegar has alpha-hydroxyl acids, which help in removing dead skin and reveals healthy and glowing skin. Not just that, Apple cider vinegar also helps in removing the age spots and minimizes fine lines and wrinkles. One of the most well-known herbal remedies that tightens up the skin is the sulfur in apple cider vinegar, helps tighten up your skin and decreases the appearance of wrinkles. Apple cider vinegar contains beta-carotene, quercetin, and catechine, compounds that have been shown to contain anti-aging properties. Beta-carotene, found in carrots and other colorful fruits and vegetables, has been linked to preventing premature aging. Dark circles under the eyes. Be careful that the apple cider vinegar does not splash in your eye. If it does, rinse out immediately with cool water for a few minutes. See Chapter 7 for how to use. Skin tags and warts. The acetic acid in apple cider vinegar can help to break down the tissue surrounding skin tags, causing them to eventually fall off. See Chapter 7, Topical Uses. Sunspots or age spots. Acetic acid, which is found in apple cider vinegar, may help lighten skin pigmentation and improve the overall appearance of your skin. Insect bites. Apple cider vinegar can help with bug bites by mitigating the pain, specifically itching and burning. It is also a natural disinfectant, so if you've been scratching your bite, apple cider vinegar can help. Chapter 5. Apple cider vinegar and cancer. A little background on cancer before you start getting paranoid and think you have it. Cancer is the uncontrolled growth of abnormal cells anywhere in a body. There are over 200 types of cancer. Anything that may cause a normal cell to develop abnormally potentially can cause cancer. General categories of cancer-related or causative agents are as follows: chemical or toxic compound exposures, ionizing radiation, some pathogens, and human genetics. Cancer symptoms and signs depend on the specific type and grade of cancer, although general signs and symptoms are not very specific. The following can be found in patients with different cancers: fatigue, weight loss, pain, skin changes, change in bowel or bladder function, unusual bleeding, persistent cough or voice change, fever, lumps, or tissue masses. Although there are many tests to screen and presumptively diagnose cancer, the definite diagnosis is made by examination of a biopsy sample of suspected cancer tissue. Cancer staging is often determined by biopsy results and helps determine the cancer type and the extent of cancer spread. Staging also helps caregivers determine treatment protocols. In general, in most staging methods, the higher the number assigned, usually between 0 to 4, the more aggressive the cancer type or the more widespread is cancer in the body. Staging methods differ from cancer to cancer and need to be individually discussed with your healthcare provider. Treatment protocols vary according to the type and stage of cancer. Most treatment protocols are designed to fit the individual patient's disease. However, most treatments include at least one of the following and may include all: surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation therapy. There are many listed home remedies and alternative treatments for cancers, but patients are strongly recommended to discuss these before use with their cancer doctors. The prognosis of cancer can range from excellent to poor. The prognosis depends on the cancer type and its staging with those cancers, known to be aggressive, and those staged with higher numbers, 3 to 4, often have a prognosis that ranges more toward poor. When it comes to apple cider vinegar and cancer, it has been shown that apple cider vinegar can help in cancer prevention because it promotes health. There are many factors and causes for cancer, and we still have a long way to go in terms of prevention and treatment. But what we do know is apple cider vinegar can reduce the risk of cancer and can slow down the cancer cell, tumor, growth. That being said, apple cider vinegar shouldn't replace treatment for someone diagnosed with cancer or a healthy lifestyle for those who want it to reduce the risk of developing different types of cancer. Chapter 6. Weight Loss. Apple cider vinegar diet directions. Here's the recipe for the apple cider vinegar diet drink that has shown to work for most people. The instructions are 8 ounces of filtered or spring water, 3 to 4 tablespoons of raw unfiltered apple cider vinegar, 1/2 teaspoon of honey or natural sweetener, 1/2 teaspoon of 100% lemon juice. Mix the ingredients together and drink. It's as simple as that. How to do an apple cider vinegar detox. Drink the drink 3 times a day. Leaky gut, causing that big bulge in your abdomen. An unhealthy gut lining may have large cracks or holes, allowing partially digested food, toxins, and bugs to penetrate the tissues beneath it. This may trigger inflammation and changes in the gut flora, normal bacteria, that could lead to problems within the digestive tract and beyond. Those expensive pills sold by a doctor on the internet is said to cure this. Really, the cure for this is some probiotics and the apple cider vinegar drink, and those cracks or holes will heal, and the stuff that penetrated will slowly dissolve and go away. The body is great in handling things like this. What comes next are all the reasons that this drink will work. Filtered or unfiltered apple cider vinegar. When it comes to application, the choice between filtered apple cider vinegar and unfiltered apple cider vinegar comes down to the particular purpose at the moment. Generally, when consuming apple cider vinegar for health, the best option is as natural as possible, while when applied to other problem areas, it may be more beneficial to have already had its sediments removed. Raw, unfiltered vinegar is important because of all the nutrients and live active ingredients removed upon filtration. To maintain the probiotic qualities, the original state of freshly fermented vinegar must remain intact. That means that instead of the clear brown liquid that many people have come to think of as quality apple cider vinegar, mistakenly, they should look for something with a more natural look, full of polyphenols. Instead of clear brown, good apple cider vinegar should have a cloudy texture to it. Many bottles will have a mass of what looks somewhat like a spider web. This is not an indication that the vinegar has gone bad, but, on the contrary, it is an indicator of a quality natural product. The web-like part of the vinegar is what is often referred to as the mother of vinegar. It is a live culture of the good bacteria that is responsible for fermenting the cider into vinegar, and can act as a powerful probiotic if incorporated and consumed with the rest of the product. A simple way to remember is to think that if it goes on the outside, it should be filtered, and if it goes on the inside, it should be unfiltered. Vinegar water or vinegar supplement pills are the popular way to go about taking it for weight loss, but that may not be the best way. Some of these pills are hard on the stomach. It may be a better technique to try to incorporate the vinegar into healthy recipes. Many of the studies that do show positive effects have been conducted on unharmed animals and need more research done on actual human subjects before any definitive claims can be made. The vinegar may not be the instant miracle cure for the excess weight that some people mistake it to be, but that does not mean that it cannot be a great addition to other diet and exercise plans to get the results that a person is looking for. Although it does not actively melt fat away, vinegar for weight loss is often used to help suppress the appetite, which may help end snacking and overeating. It may also work at helping regulate the levels of sugar in the blood, which may help maintain weight by reducing cravings for unhealthy foods that can contribute to weight gain. It is a good carb killer. Apple cider vinegar may help contribute to higher energy levels by generating better absorption in the body through a couple of processes. The vinegar enters the body as an acid, so it can be an aid in the initial breakdown of foods, which can, in turn, lead to the better absorption of the things a body needs. The absorption is further boosted as the high acid triggers the small intestine to alkalize the body. The combination of increased metabolism with less fat uptake and the probiotic flush is what's supposed to be a part in the success. Apple cider vinegar has as a weight loss supplement. Acetic acid has various benefits for fat loss. Acetic acid is a short-chain fatty acid that dissolves into acetate and hydrogen in your body. This fits right in with the popular keto diet, because acetic acid basically burns carbs. A keto diet is a low-carb or a no-carb diet, and apple cider vinegar is a natural carb killer. Some animal studies suggest that the acetic acid in apple cider vinegar may promote weight loss in several ways. Lowers blood sugar levels. In one rat study, acetic acid improved the ability of the liver and muscles to take up sugar from the blood. Decreases insulin levels. In the same rat study, acetic acid also reduced the ratio of insulin to glucagon, which might favor fat burning. Improves metabolism. Another study in rats exposed to acetic acid showed an increase in the enzyme AMPK, which boosts fat burning and decreases fat and sugar production in the liver. Reduces fat storage. Treating obese diabetic rats with acetic acid or acetate protected them from weight gain and increased the expression of genes that reduced belly fat storage and liver fat. Fatty liver. This is a rarely explored phenomenon that can be the cause of weight gain along with candida, which was mentioned in a previous chapter. What is fatty liver? Fatty liver occurs when too much fat builds up in liver cells. Although it is normal to have a tiny amount of fat in these cells, the liver is considered fatty if more than 5% of it is fat. While drinking too much alcohol can lead to a fatty liver, in many cases it does not play a role. Apple cider vinegar can help get rid of a fatty liver. Burns fat. A study in mice led to a high-fat diet supplement with acetic acid, found in a significant increase in the genes responsible for fat burning, which led to less body fat buildup. Suppresses appetite. Another study suggests acetate may suppress centers in your brain that control appetite, which can lead to reduced food intake. Reducing appetite. The most basic way to stop gaining weight is to stop eating, or at least stop eating so much. This is a task that can often be easier said than done. There can be several reasons that a person overeats. Hormonal imbalances can make a body believe that it is hungry when it actually is not. Many people eat in reference to their mood to comfort themselves. Depression, which is another form of hormonal imbalance, can also cause overeating. Overeating can also occur when the body craves a nutrient. It will continue to make a person feel hungry until it receives the vital nutrient it needs. This process can lead to the consumption of many unnecessary calories along the way. Apple cider vinegar may help to curb hunger and food cravings. It's hard not to be hungry when you smell barbecue cooking outdoors or walk past a bakery and smell freshly baked goods. There are a handful of ways that apple cider vinegar in your diet may help to suppress the appetite. Water, weight loss, and science. Many men and women trying to lose weight fall within the age from middle to older adults. Research shows that drinking 500 milliliters of water before each meal improves weight loss, compared to eating the same low-calorie meals without water. After 12 weeks, the water group lost about 4 pounds more than the no-water group. Digestion. How apple cider vinegar helps with digestion. As I already mentioned, apple cider vinegar improves digestion. Drinking apple cider vinegar for digestion can get rid of heartburn, reduce bloating, be a natural laxative, improve digestion overall. Let me just say that discomfort and pain are not normal. When we experience pain and discomfort after a meal, we should listen to our bodies and realize that something is not exactly right. Maybe we ate too much, or maybe our digestive system doesn't work properly. Did you know that the average person is carrying around up to 5 pounds of feces or waste in their intestines? This is huge, because this added waste makes your midsection look a bit larger. All the more reason for the apple cider vinegar detox. And if that doesn't quite do the job, get some Cascara sagrada capsules to help the process. One word of caution on the Cascara. Don't take it on an empty stomach, because it may cause irritation and pain. It usually takes 4 to 6 hours to work, so be close to home at that time. Proper digestion means proper acid levels in the stomach, so the nutrients in our food can be absorbed. When there's not enough acid, food is not properly broken down and the nutrients are not absorbed, which can lead to digestive issues like the ones I mentioned, or more serious ones. So, in other words, drinking apple cider vinegar for proper digestion means increasing acid production, and that leads to proper digestion. Simple, right? 5 healthy habits to reduce bloating and belly fat. 1. Avoid grazing. What does that mean? It means all the snacking between the meals has to go. Why? Because every time you eat, you trigger a hormone called insulin, and insulin creates inflammation in your colon. Okay, in other words, it just makes this thing swell up, so what you want to do is eat 3 meals a day only. Or, if you can, only 2 meals a day, even better. The 3rd meal will be your body eating the belly fat. We want it to burn the fat and make the insulin levels switch. Therefore, if the insulin levels are low, you won't have any bloating at all in your stomach. If the insulin levels are high, you'll feel bloated, so avoid grazing. 2. Avoid grains and sugar. This is the obvious one you probably already know, but the protein in grains called gluten can create inflammation in your colon. It's the #1 source of IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, diverticulitis, Crohn's, and other digestive issues. Also, because grains turn into sugar, which increases your insulin levels, grains and sugar create swelling of the belly, especially if you combine it with protein. Therefore, you want to avoid sugar and grains. 3. Avoid certain veggies. Now, for me, I can't eat cauliflower. I like cauliflower, but it bloats me. Everyone's different. You might get bloated from kale. You might get bloated from cabbage or broccoli. Even though it's healthy, you don't want anything that is going to bloat you. Therefore, get to know yourself and your body. 4. Avoid overeating, another obvious one, but a lot of times if you're just in a certain mode, especially at a restaurant, it's really easy to overeat at social events. You just keep eating and eating, or watching TV, and you keep eating and eating. So, think about what you're eating, and don't stuff yourself, because it's going to take a long time to digest that food, especially if it's late at night. 5. Eating when you are not hungry. When you're not hungry, do not eat. Why, you ask? Because your body is burning fat. If you add food, the food is going to just sit there and will cause more bloating. So, only eat when you are hungry. There you have it. 5 healthy habits to reduce bloating and get rid of some belly fat. Conclusion. If you expect apple cider vinegar to work fully as a diet drink, here are the rules. Drink the drink. Stay away from the carbs. Bread, anything with wheat or grains, sugar, and try a little bit of cardio each day. And utilize the 5 healthy habits given above. Chapter 7. Using apple cider vinegar. How is it used as a treatment? You can use apple cider vinegar to combat candida in a variety of different ways. You can take it to treat an overgrowth or incorporate it into your daily routine to prevent future infections. Again, a simple way to remember is to think that if it goes on the outside, it should be filtered, and if it goes on the inside, it should be unfiltered. Drink it straight. Apple cider vinegar can be taken straight, undiluted. Try taking 1 to 2 tablespoons twice per day. If you don't like the taste, try adding a drop of honey. Follow it with a glass of water to rinse your teeth to avoid damage to your enamel. Not too many drink it straight. I recommend the weight loss drink recipe below to avoid a sore throat and tooth enamel erosion. 8 ounces of filtered or spring water. 3 to 4 tablespoons of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar. 1/2 teaspoon of honey or natural sweetener. 1/2 teaspoon of 100% lemon juice. Mix the ingredients together and drink. It's as simple as that. Continue this routine daily until your candida infection clears up, or for as long as desired. You might just want to add the apple cider vinegar to salads to get the benefits. If you don't mind the taste of apple cider vinegar, you can add it to a glass of water and drink it. It's as simple as that. Is it better to drink apple cider vinegar in the morning or at night? Ingesting undiluted vinegar of any kind can damage your throat and esophagus. Consume it earlier in the day. Drinking apple cider vinegar at least 30 minutes before bed may lower your risk of indigestion or acid reflux after laying down. How much apple cider vinegar should I drink daily? You don't want to overdo it. That's never a good idea. So, how much apple cider vinegar daily? And how much is too much? Common dosage per day is 2 to 4 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, mixed with water or made into a tonic like the recipe below, or added to a salad dressing. How to use apple cider vinegar in recipes. Well, you don't really have to drink it, especially if you don't like the taste. There are other ways to consume apple cider vinegar. You can incorporate apple cider vinegar into your diet by using it in various recipes, including salad dressings. Making an apple cider vinegar tonic by mixing apple cider vinegar with lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar added to a glass of fruit juice. Drinking apple cider vinegar is easier this way. You won't notice the taste as much, but you'll get all the health benefits of apple cider, plus the benefits of fruit juice. Make your own fruit juice at home with a juicer for a fresh and yummy tonic. You can spice it up with a little ground cinnamon or cayenne pepper, or sweeten it with a little raw honey. Good stuff. Other recipes that can be found all over the internet that use apple cider vinegar in otherwise bland recipes. Just a few are cider beans, ginger splash, which is simple. You just add ginger and a sweetener like honey to apple cider vinegar and sparkling water. Salads, chili, or anything that has been cooked in a slow cooker, apple cider vinegar will flavor enhance it. Fancy pork and beans, which have molasses or brown sugar and Worcestershire sauce, just a few of my favorites. Weight loss. 8 ounces of filtered or spring water. 3 to 4 tablespoons of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar. 1/2 teaspoon of honey or natural sweetener. 1/2 teaspoon of 100% lemon juice. Mix the ingredients together and drink. It's as simple as that. A healthy, sparkling cocktail. 8 ounces of sparkling water. 2 tablespoons of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar. 1 tablespoon of real maple syrup or honey. 1 teaspoon of 100% lemon juice. Gargle it. To treat an oral thrush infection, you can apply apple cider vinegar directly to the infected tissue, or just plain old bad breath. Mix 1/2 cup of apple cider vinegar into 1 cup of water. Gargle and swish this solution around your mouth for 15 seconds. Spit and repeat for at least 3 minutes. Repeat 2 to 3 times per day until the infection clears. Add it to tea. Add 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar to a cup of black tea. A 2009 study showed that the polyphenols in black tea work to slow the growth of candida. The flavor of the tea will also help mask the strong taste of apple cider vinegar. Drink this tincture twice per day to treat an infection and once per day as a preventative measure. Use it as salad dressing. Apple cider vinegar makes a great salad dressing. Putting it on your salads is probably an easier way to incorporate it into your diet, because you'll likely enjoy the taste. Mix apple cider vinegar with olive oil for a quick and easy dressing. Or get creative and spice it up with dried herbs or some garlic. Mix it with coconut oil for skin and sensitive areas. To use apple cider vinegar on your skin, mix it into some organic coconut oil. A 2007 study shows that virgin coconut oil may be nearly as effective as prescription antifungal medications. For the best results, buy coconut oil that is 100% pure. Mix 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar into 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. You can apply the mixture to the vulva or insert it into the vagina, as well as take it by mouth. To insert into the vagina, remove a tampon from wrapper and fill the applicator with the mixture. Insert into the vagina. Word of caution. Be aware that coconut oil can break down the latex in condoms, so you'll need to abstain from sex while using this treatment, or use another method of birth control if you want to prevent pregnancy. Add it to a smoothie. Hide the strong taste of apple cider vinegar by mixing it into your daily smoothie. Add 1 to 2 tablespoons to any standard smoothie. Try complementing the taste of apple cider by adding apples, cinnamon, and nutmeg. You can also make a green drink and mix in other natural antifungals like garlic, radishes, and cloves. To boil better eggs. Adding vinegar in the water you use to boil or poach eggs can help you produce consistently good eggs. This is because the protein in egg whites firms up more quickly when exposed to a more acidic liquid. When you're poaching eggs, you want the egg whites to firm up as quickly as possible so the eggs keep their shape. Using vinegar when boiling eggs can also speed up the coagulation or clotting of the egg whites. This can be useful if the shell cracks while the egg is being boiled. Wash fruits and vegetables. Pesticide residue on fruits and vegetables can be a concern for many people. That's why some people like to wash their fruits and vegetables in apple cider vinegar. The hope is that it'll remove more of the chemical residues than water alone. Although it's not entirely clear whether it will remove more pesticides than simply washing with water, it may help kill any dangerous bacteria on food. For example, washing foods in apple cider vinegar has been shown to remove dangerous bacteria like E. coli and Salmonella. Use it in the bath. Many people find that mixing apple cider vinegar into a warm bath helps soothe and moisturize the skin. It may also be an effective way to fight or prevent yeast infections. Bathwater does make its way into the vagina. The tricky part is using enough apple cider vinegar to make it effective. Fill the tub halfway at most and add 2 cups of apple cider vinegar. Soak for about 15 minutes. Dark circles under the eyes. Just carefully apply with a cotton ball and let it dry. Once the vinegar is dry, wash it off with cool water. Be careful that the vinegar does not splash in your eye. If it does, rinse out immediately with cool water for a few minutes. Clean dentures. You can also use apple cider vinegar to clean dentures. Although there's no consensus on the best method to clean them, it's thought that the residues left by apple cider vinegar could be less harmful to the skin in your mouth than other cleaning agents. Whiter teeth. Use 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar with 1 teaspoon of baking soda and mix in a dab of toothpaste and brush your teeth with it. The apple cider vinegar will kill the bacteria and the baking soda will whiten. Leg cramps. It has a natural anti-inflammatory property of potassium and helps to ease your leg pain away. Drink the same drink recipe used for weight loss. Ginger and magnesium may help too. Varicose veins. The most common recommendation is to apply undiluted apple cider vinegar to the skin over varicose veins and massage it into the skin twice a day. Many people that have had success also recommend drinking 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar in a glass of water twice a day. The treatment should be continued over a period of several months. For acid reflux, use a small amount, such as a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and dilute it into a warm mug of water before or after a meal. More topical uses for apple cider vinegar and its antifungal properties. Acne. You could mix 2 tablespoons in warm water and drink it up, or dip a cotton ball in it and dab over your skin. Toenail fungus. Dab with a cotton ball, making sure the solution penetrates under and around the nail, or, for more drastic cases, immerse the foot or toe entirely for 30 minutes in apple cider vinegar undiluted. Doing this twice a day should do the trick. Skin tags and warts. Soak a cotton ball in apple cider vinegar. Secure the cotton ball to your skin tag with a bandage. Remove it after 10 to 15 minutes. Wash the area with soap and warm water. Allow the area to dry. Don't put a bandage over the skin tag. Repeat daily for 2 weeks. Sunspots or age spots. Using at full strength, wipe on with a cotton ball. Dandruff. Dilute 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in 1 cup of water and rinse your hair with it in the shower. Allow the solution to sit on your scalp for a few minutes before washing out. Facial toner. Apple cider vinegar is claimed to help remedy skin conditions and provide aging support. As such, many people like to use apple cider vinegar to make a skin tonic. The general recipe for the skin tonic is 1 part apple cider vinegar to 2 parts water. You can then apply this to your skin using a cotton ball. However, if you have sensitive skin, you may want to make a more diluted solution by adding more water. There's an insufficient amount of research supporting the usage of apple cider vinegar for this purpose. Lice. Douse those buggers full strength. Fleas on your dog. Apple cider vinegar will prevent your pet from getting fleas. It's thought that spraying a mixture of 1 part water and 1 part apple cider vinegar onto your pet will create an environment that fleas won't want to hang around in. Underarm wash. Its astringent properties unclog the pores and reduce skin darkness and excessive odor. You can simply pour some organic apple cider vinegar on a cotton pad, pat it onto the armpit area, and leave it until it dries completely before washing it off. Repeat daily for quick and effective results. Vaginal wash. Make a vaginal wash by diluting 2 tablespoons apple cider vinegar in 1 cup of water and use as an in-shower rinse or use the coconut oil mix above. Chapter 8. Apple cider vinegar throughout the house. The laundry room. Disinfect your wash machine. Add 2 cups of apple cider vinegar as you would detergent, and let the machine run without any clothes, and voila! Your machine will be even cleaner than before. Also, you can use apple cider vinegar to make your laundry cleaner, odor-free and germ-free by pouring a cup in with each load. The bathroom. To clean your toothbrush. To have really clean teeth, it's worth considering how clean your toothbrush is. Given that apple cider vinegar has antibacterial properties, you can use it as a homemade cleaner for your toothbrush. To make your own toothbrush cleaner, combine half a cup, 120 milliliters of water with 2 tablespoons, 30 milliliters apple cider vinegar, and 2 teaspoons baking soda. Mix well, then leave the head of your toothbrush in the mixture for 30 minutes. Make sure you rinse your brush well with water before you use it. Otherwise, the acidity of undiluted vinegar could damage your teeth. The kitchen. A 1-to-1 solution of apple cider vinegar and water makes a great cleaner for the entire kitchen. It can even remove bacteria. Use it to scour your countertops, microwave, stovetop, etc. And because the solution is diluted, you don't have to worry about the acid within your vinegar eating away at surfaces or dulling their shine. Adding apple cider vinegar to your dishwasher wash cycle can remove stains from dishes, such as coffee cups and wine glasses. A 1/4 cup should do it. A little more apple cider vinegar can also be used to clean, deodorize, and de-stain your dishwasher when added a couple minutes into a wash cycle. To trap fruit flies. Fruit flies can be pests, and it's really easy to use apple cider vinegar to make a cheap fruit fly trap. Simply pour some apple cider vinegar into a cup, add a few drops of dish soap so that any trapped flies sink to the bottom, and there you have it. The bathroom. Fight bathtub mildew with an apple cider vinegar rinse. Depending on the severity of your mildew problem, you can go with apple cider vinegar on its own or dilute it with a bit of water. Add some essential oils to make the bathroom smell lemon fresh. A clogged drain is no match for apple cider vinegar either. First, pour about 1/2 cup of baking soda down the drain, followed by a cup of apple cider vinegar and 1 cup of hot water. After about 15 minutes, be careful. You probably remember how baking soda and vinegar react from all of those elementary school volcano-related projects. Rinse it all down with boiling water. The living room. A cozy night might lead you to light a few candles, and the wax might run over. Once the wax is brittle to the touch, you can scrape it off with a spatula or credit card. A bit of diluted apple cider vinegar will remove the rest of the residue. Use a dishcloth with the solution to rub it away. A water apple cider vinegar solution can even be used to de-streak the windows in your home, living room included. The same solution can safely clean your walls, even painted ones. Your mother always begged you to use a coaster, and, in your own home, you took a stand against it. And now you have water stains on your side tables. Full-strength apple cider vinegar can remove the stains. Carpet stains are no match for apple cider vinegar either. Pour a few tablespoons of salt into the vinegar and rub it into stains before vacuuming it all away. You can also add it to water for use in your carpet steamer to blast away stains. The yard. As a weed killer. Another great use for apple cider vinegar is as a homemade weed killer. Spray undiluted vinegar on unwanted weeds in your garden to get rid of them. You can also try mixing it with soap and lemon juice to see if that makes it more effective. Chapter 9. Potential side effects of drinking apple cider vinegar. Also, there are certain instances when apple cider vinegar is not at all recommended. For example, if you have stomach ulcers or kidney problems. As a reminder, drinking apple cider vinegar without diluting it is not at all recommended, because apple cider vinegar is acidic and it can cause indigestion. Too much apple cider vinegar can cause indigestion. Digestive problems. This may sound counterintuitive since apple cider vinegar can improve digestion, but for someone who has ulcers or acid reflux, apple cider vinegar will only worsen the symptoms. Skin burns. Another counterintuitive one since apple cider vinegar can soothe sunburn. But if you apply it to the skin undiluted, it can burn your skin. For treating acne, make sure you add only a little bit of apple cider vinegar in water before applying it to the skin. For sunburn, Use 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar into your bath water. A little really goes a long way in this situation. The acid in apple cider vinegar may erode your teeth enamel. You may want to guzzle some water after drinking it and swish your mouth out. If you have chronic kidney disease, your kidneys might not be able to process the excess acid that comes along with drinking apple cider vinegar. Interactions with medicines. Apple cider vinegar can interact with some medicines, including insulin and diuretic drugs, water pills. If you take any medications, ask your doctor whether you can safely take apple cider vinegar. Nausea and vomiting. Some people quite literally can't stomach the taste and acidity of apple cider vinegar. If it makes you feel sick, stop using it. Apple cider vinegar is also available in pills or gummies. There's no standard dose, so follow the directions on the product or ask your doctor how much is safe for you. Look for a brand that has a seal of approval from a third party. Chapter 10. First bonus chapter. The China Syndrome, or toxic foods from China that are killing you. These are the top foods exported from China that you should absolutely never eat. So, just when you thought you were eating healthy, one thing you may never have thought of was where your food comes from. Naturally, you think that all your so-called fresh vegetables are grown locally, or at least maybe the next state away. Well, think again. A lot of the produce and things you would never think of are being shipped in from China. You say to yourself, how can this be profitable for them to do such a thing? Have you heard the term a slow boat from China? That's how. You may have noticed that many processed foods are made in China, but did you know that many non-packaged goods also originate there? With the world's largest population, the Chinese economy relies heavily on exports of all kinds, especially food. With that said, production and manufacturing standards in China are a far cry from what we've come to expect here in the USA, or your local supplier. In 2013, more than 50% of the 162,000 tons of antibiotics used in China were for veterinary use. And each year, over 50,000 tons of antibiotics are released to the environment. The concentration of antibiotics in China's main rivers is 2.5 times higher than the level in U.S. rivers. This is cause for alarm. According to the CDC, each year 2 million Americans get sick and 230,000 die of an infection that is resistant to antibiotics. So there are certain items produced over there that you must be wary of, should you come across them. And don't depend on the USDA to protect you. They cannot inspect or make sure all produce is edible. Also, Tyson has opened 4 processing plants in China, but says they have no plans for the chicken to be shipped back to the United States. Okay, I believe everything big corporations have to say. Honey. And you thought, how can bees be toxic? They're not. Chinese producers often add an extra step to honey production called ultrafiltration. This sounds good, but the process removes the beneficial pollen from the honey, makes the honey more shelf-stable, and also removes the ability to tell the country of origin. Honey from China has also contained chemicals such as chloramphenicol, an antibiotic banned in the United States because it has been linked to cancer. Chinese honey has also been fraudulent, with high fructose corn syrup or rice syrup added. Gee, that's a shock. Apple juice. China uses pesticides to grow many of its crops, and those chemicals often make it into juice at the end of the conveyor line. Multiple brands of apple juice sold in the United States and other countries that come from China have had high levels of arsenic. More likely than not, the arsenic comes from the heavy use of pesticides on the apples that are grown. If consumed regularly, it goes without saying that the chemical can cause some serious health issues in humans and/or animals. Corn. And you thought all corn was from the Midwest in the USA. Although sodium cyclamate isn't allowed in Chinese corn, Some producers add it to their crops anyway for a bit of added sweetness. It also helps the corn maintain its yellow color, making it more appealing to customers. Luckily for Westerners, sodium cyclamate is banned in the United States, as it can cause some serious damage to the liver. However, it's still legal in many countries, so be careful when eating corn outside the USA and check where it's coming from. If you don't know, then don't buy it. Tilapia. It's no secret, or maybe you didn't know, that tilapia is farmed in poor conditions throughout China. Their water is filled with garbage and sewage. Tilapia are tossed into small pools, cramped together with thousands of other fish. When eaten, the consumer enables some of the toxicity found in the tilapia farm's environment to enter into their body, even if it is cooked properly. This obviously could lead to some potentially serious health consequences down the road. Canned tuna. Canned tuna from China also has had lead poisoning thanks to the high lead levels in the cans themselves. Perhaps unsurprisingly, that's not the only reason you might want to avoid Chinese canned tuna. In addition to potential lead poisoning and mercury, the tuna itself includes many of the same harmful substances found in other fish exported from China. As mentioned earlier, the fish farms are filled with pollution and toxic chemicals. Codfish. Cod is another fish that is often farmed in China in rather poor conditions. Similar to the aforementioned tilapia, it's not unusual for cod to live in their own waste in crammed pools at some fish farms. A lot of cod ends up being sold in processed fish-based foods, such as fish sticks or frozen dinners. Ever wonder why sometimes those fish sticks taste a little weird? Believe it or not, at this time more than 50% of cod sold in the United States comes from China. Tea. Tea is a staple of Chinese culture, so you'd think that buying tea leaves from China wouldn't be a bad thing. But unfortunately, that is definitely not the case for some unlucky consumers. In some cases, Chinese teas tested in a laboratory have contained almost 30 toxic chemicals. While this is certainly not the norm, it may be best not to buy tea from China, even for all the tea in China. Wine. Countries like Italy, France, Germany, the USA, and others all over the world are known for churning out some great wine. Unfortunately, it seems that China is certainly not one of those places, due to their questionable packaging practices. While all of the wines made in China are at the very least derived from real grapes, there are plenty of additives included in some bottles to add more volume. Chinese wine may contain artificial flavors, dyes, and sugars. Chicken. Avian influenza and other harmful diseases can very well be traced back to chickens in China. Chickens are often raised in terrible, unsanitary conditions, and that helps disease spread among one another. When it comes to poultry raised in China, chicken meat may also contain heavy metals and veterinary drug residues that have harmful health effects. Heavy metal concentration in Chinese poultry is likely also high, due to environmental pollution, especially from widespread coal burning, which releases lead, mercury, and arsenic that contaminates air and soil and ends up in animal feed and animal meat, posing threats to food safety. While it takes only 11 hours by air to transport the chicken meat from Qingdao to Los Angeles, you may want to examine your chicken purchases carefully. For these reasons, you may want to consider buying locally raised chicken, preferably cage-free. Aside from future health concerns, free-range birds are often treated much more humanely than their caged-up little friends. Pork. Many Chinese people eat more pork than beef for economical reasons, as pork is nearly half the price of beef. Some companies in China have gotten creative with that in mind, despite the health risks their solutions may have for people. In some cases, processing plants use borax-filled additives in pork to make it look like beef. They are then able to trick consumers into paying more money while also endangering their health long or short term. Lamb. By now, you're likely well aware that some Chinese manufacturers will try to sell certain items claiming they're one thing when they're really not. Lamb is just another example of this widely used practice. In one incident, the Chinese police arrested 900 vendors who tried to sell rat meat as lamb meat. Later down the line, the police stumbled upon 20,000 pounds of spoiled rat meat being prepared for market. Beef. Some Chinese meat shops increase production at the expense of safety standards, which makes bacteria spoilage a bigger risk. Additionally, these meat shops sometimes create beef-like products that look and taste like beef, but aren't really beef at all. Some unlucky shoppers end up with a mixture of chemicals, paraffin wax, and other unwanted ingredients when they're just seeking out a strip steak. A good rule of thumb is to not buy any meat from China, not just beef. Smoked meats. Most smoked foods in China are chock full of nitrates that are dangerous if consumed in high volumes. There are also processed meats that are high in calories and have a lot of artificial coloring added in. A lot of smoked meats from around the world have those same problems. However, in China, smoked meats are twice as bad, since many producers use questionable ingredients, rat meat, and processes in order to sell for lower prices than competitors. Soy sauce. Oh boy. Soy sauce is likely in the vast majority of people's fridges, being a staple in Asian cuisine. Unfortunately, some Chinese soy sauces contain 4-methylimidazole, a chemical that is known to cause cancer. As a matter of fact, one study found the chemical is in more than 25% of the soy sauce sourced from China. That stat alone should be enough of a reason not to buy or use this particular condiment from China. Frozen spinach. One of the healthiest foods there is, spinach is packed with antioxidants, fiber, vitamins, and minerals. It fights arthritis, certain cancers, heart disease, and osteoporosis, making it a widely sought-after leafy green. You guessed it, spinach from China is often tainted with many pesticides. Despite all of those excellent health benefits, one study found that spinach from China has more pesticide residue by weight than any other fruit or vegetable. Eggs. You already know of the risks of buying chicken from China, from the information above. So it shouldn't come as much of a surprise that buying eggs from China may also prove to be a questionable purchase at best. Some Chinese factories and farmers use harmful materials like calcium carbonate and paraffin in their eggs. Therefore, consumers risk poisoning themselves whenever they crack open a fresh egg for breakfast from China. Green peas. It has been verified that some green peas from China were actually a mixture of products, including snow peas, soybeans, food bleach, and preservatives. Not only are the chemicals harmful, but the so-called peas also don't have the benefits of real peas. Benefits of the real deal include fiber and antioxidants. If you buy green peas from China, however, you risk getting a serving of imposter peas that lack a full dose of healthy nutrients you need. Table salt. Table salt is one of the most common items in most households, but stay away from any imported from China. You say, what could they possibly do to salt? Chinese salt is routinely filled with metals and other harmful fillers. Since the majority of Chinese salt is unsafe, Chinese companies are supposed to sell it as industrial salt, but many manufacturers ignore that rule. China is one of the top global salt manufacturers. Their process used to produce so much of the salt makes it very dangerous for people or animals. Ginseng. A good portion of the ginseng in the United States is sourced from China, making it one of the most common foods exported from the country. Similar to the aforementioned apple juice, pesticides are an issue here. Greenpeace conducted a test and found that every single ginseng sample from China contained at least trace amounts of pesticides. It's hard to believe, but every single root contained multiple harmful chemicals. Rice noodles. A lot of Asian-inspired dishes require rice noodles, but you should try to avoid those imported from China. Some factories that produce rice noodles in China have been known to use sulfur dioxide in production. While the chemicals may help the noodles appear fresher, sulfur dioxide is also a known carcinogen. For this reason, consumers should try to find a different source for their rice noodle requirements whenever possible. Rice. It's all about money. What could they possibly do to rice? Much like rice noodles, buying rice from China seems authentic and harmless. However, this humble food is not as innocent as it appears. According to some reports, Chinese factories add synthetic resin to their rice. So, if you eat rice sourced from China, you are at risk of eating trace amounts of plastic. The chemicals in the resin used are also known to cause cancer, so your best bet is to stay away and read labels. Sweet potato noodles. Sweet potato noodles are better known as glass noodles. These noodles are becoming more familiar to people around the world due to their nutritional value, as they're a healthier alternative to both yellow and rice noodles. Developed from sweet potato starch with no fat or proteins, these noodles don't cause blood sugar to spike. However, it has been reported that certain Chinese manufacturers are using paraffin wax and industrial dyes for texture and color. Garlic. Garlic is another food negatively impacted by pesticides in China. The country doesn't have laws to regulate pesticides, so farmers use them to maximize their overall production in a short amount of time, thus soaking up all those ungodly chemicals. Since garlic is extremely absorbent, the pesticides used are particularly harmful to it. That means that consumers get an even bigger dose of pesticides than you normally would when they get garlic from China. This really gets you wondering if your local Italian restaurant is using this on your garlic bread. Baby formula. While it's one thing to take health risks on yourself, most people would agree that it's unacceptable to put a baby at risk. So, when purchasing baby formula, make sure it isn't imported from China. The best-known scandal date was in 2008, when baby formula was adulterated with melamine, which caused 54,000 babies to become sick, resulting in the deaths of 6. That was not long after the discovery of melamine-contaminated wheat gluten and rice protein exported to the U.S. market, as well as Chinese-made dumplings tainted with the insecticide methimidofos. A few years ago, it was discovered that some Chinese manufacturers were using melamine, a product used in plastics, in baby formula to make it appear to be higher in protein. However, if consumed in high doses, melamine can cause illness in babies. We knew there was a reason baby formula was so cheap at some stores. Milk. Along the same lines as the aforementioned baby formula, imported milk from China also contains melamine. As a result, hundreds of thousands of people have gotten sick after drinking milk imported from China. From kids to adults, knowingly consuming melamine is toxic, regardless of age. Keep your kidneys safe and steer clear of milk sourced from China, even if it ultimately means spending a little bit extra on organic products from your local region, or even switching to coconut milk. Cooking oils. The lack of regulations and food safety laws in China make it easy for manufacturers to sell unethical products. Cooking oil from China has been found to come from some unappetizing sources, time and time again. For example, a food company in China took used oil from restaurants, filtered it, repackaged it, and then sold it as new. Since you don't know where the recycled oil has been, it could have all kinds of nasty things in it. So look for a good organic cooking oil or olive oil from Italy. Mushrooms. Tainted mushrooms from China are far too common. As with several food items already mentioned, mushrooms really soak up pesticides. It's also worth mentioning that Chinese mushrooms may be covered with preservatives so that they appear fresher. Mushrooms are also sometimes mislabeled in order to increase the price tag. Chinese manufacturers may sometimes label normal mushrooms as organic products, in an effort to gain more profit for their tainted product. Water. It has been found that some Chinese merchants bottle tap water and untreated water before packaging it with genuine-looking seals. The Chinese are masters at copying and reproducing packaging. Bottles have been found to contain bacteria such as E. coli, as well as harmful fungi. Producers of this fake bottled water do so because it costs half as much to make and sell untreated, unfiltered water, rather than treated water. It's best to buy bottled water from well-known grocery stores and name brands that you trust. Watermelon. A common theme among produce from China. Watermelons that are grown in this country have pesticide issues. These chemicals and pesticides help the watermelons grow quickly, therefore increasing China's total exports. However, the pesticides often end up inside the fruit, which means it also ends up in the bodies of the consumers. It's better to shop locally and purchase fresh watermelon, or else risk the chance of exposure to toxic substances. Shrimp. Back in 2016, the Institute of Environmental and Human Health Food Lab at Texas Tech studied bags of shrimp bought across the U.S. They found that every single sample was contaminated with carcinogen nitrofurazone, chloramphenicol, and enrofloxacin. Each substance is found in antibiotics that are illegal for commercial use in the United States. Since conditions are poor and regulations are loose in China, the shrimp farmed there are highly contaminated. Cabbage. The summer months in China make the cabbage crops wilted and borderline inedible. So, in order to keep the cabbage looking fresh during these times, farmers may spray it with a formalin solution. While that does do the trick for the cabbage itself, this particular solution is deadly to humans and animals consuming it. The formalin is made up of formaldehyde and other chemicals used as disinfectants. Canned peaches. Canned peaches, in heavy syrup, aren't the healthiest option to begin with, but the ones that come from China are even worse. Pesticides aside, it's not even what's inside the product that makes them so bad. It's actually the can that they come in. Australian researchers found that the cans contained high amounts of lead, and Chinese canned peaches had twice the legal amount of lead in each can. Some of lead poisoning symptoms are reduced muscle coordination and kidney damage. Black pepper is known to improve digestive health by activating enzymes in the intestines and stomach. Studies suggest it could also prevent cancer, lower blood pressure, and fight infections and the common cold. Unfortunately, due to the high demand, certain Chinese merchants have mixed dirt and flour and labeled it as black pepper. That's yet another way that some people try to scam the buyer to make an extra buck. Ginger. Aldicarb was detected at 4 to 6 times the recommended level in samples of ginger from China. You mean there is a recommended level of poison? And since the root absorbs it, the pesticide can't be cleaned off. Exposure to low levels of aldicarb has been linked with liver damage. The World Health Organization has classified aldicarb as extremely dangerous because it's a fast-acting poison. Symptoms can be experienced in mere minutes after ingestion because it's rapidly absorbed in the gastrointestinal tract. Tapioca pearls. Tapioca isn't the healthiest product to begin with. It doesn't have much nutritional value as it contains mostly carbs from starch. I used to like it as a kid, but if you must buy tapioca pearls, verify where they're from beforehand. The University Hospital Aachen in Germany conducted a study and found polychlorinated biphenyls in Chinese tapioca pearls. These substances can cause cancer, as well as destroy the immune, endocrine, nervous, and reproductive systems. Tofu. Tofu is a great source of protein and is often used as a meat substitute by vegetarians. It's mainly made up of soybeans, water, and coagulant. However, some tofu is made from unfermented soy, which limits the amount of protein. One report by food safety inspectors in China found some shocking evidence in the tofu making process. Iron sulfate, livestock, and even human feces were being used to speed up the fermentation process. Isn't that appetizing? Pet food. They eat doggies, don't they? While this obviously isn't an item that humans should consume, it still makes our list of foods to avoid. Pets are near and dear to our hearts, so knowing the origins of our furry friends' dinner is important. Some Chinese pet food contains melamine, which, if you recall from earlier, is most often used in the production of plastics. Your pet could die as a result of digesting melamine, so be wary of the pet food products you purchase. We all know of all the pets who have fallen ill or died from Chinese-made chicken treats. I, for one, have experienced this firsthand and lost our family pet to these toxic products, which caused cancer in our dog. Cinnamon. Some Chinese vendors substitute cinnamon with cassia, a cheap alternative spice grown locally with a different smell as well as some negative health effects. For some people, the flavoring in cassia may cause migraines. There are ways to spot the difference between the real deal and the fake if you're concerned about authenticity. Real cinnamon in its raw form is easy to break, light-colored, and looks like parchment, while cassia is rigid and bright brown. Similar to true cinnamon, cassia bark has a more pungent, less harsh flavor and is thicker than cinnamon. On the positive side, it has been used to treat diabetes. But if you want cassia, it would be nice to make that decision on your own. Pickled vegetables. While there are natural ways to pickle fruits and vegetables, not everybody takes that route when they're trying to make a profit because the normal process may take longer. Pickled vegetables in China have an abundance of chemical additives. The chemical contents on the label on the packaging are sometimes listed inaccurately. Prior to shipment, workers spray pesticides high in DDVP onto the vegetables and use industrial-grade salt to achieve the pickled effect. DDVP, dichlorvose, is an organophosphate widely used as an insecticide to control household pests. It has toxic effects in humans and animals with negative neurological effects. Hot pot soup. Ordering out Chinese tonight? Hot pot soup is also known as soup food or steamboat internationally. It's a Chinese cooking method, prepared with a simmering pot of soup stock and any combination of East Asian ingredients the consumer desires. Some Chinese merchants lace their hot pot soup with ethyl maltol, supposedly not toxic and used in vaping products, capsicum oleoresin, an oily derivative of pepper, and disodium 5-ribonucleotide, a flavor enhancer which is used with glutamates, to make the soup taste like pork stock and heat quicker. They've even gone so far as to use meat that wasn't fresh. This, by the way, was found out at a supposedly great Chinese restaurant in Chicago. Clams. Clams are mostly caught in rivers in China, and unfortunately many of the rivers in China are heavily polluted. Often, metals such as nickel, mercury, and chromium are found in abundance in the water. Since clams eat plankton and microorganisms in the water and mud, chances are high that they get contaminated by the pollutants. Vendors say that boiling them at high temperatures will make them clean, but that takes time and isn't done by most restaurants. Eel. Not big on my favorite list to eat. Finless eels used to be considered a delicacy in China, and they became so popular that demand went through the roof. Some Chinese people invested a lot of money to ensure the item remained available for sale. There have been reports that many fish farmers feed their eels contraceptives to accelerate growth. This in turn can cause a lot of health issues to both the eels and the unlucky people who eat them. So keep that in mind the next time you go out for sushi. Chapter 11. Second bonus chapter. Foods that you don't need to keep in the fridge. Meat and dairy products need to be refrigerated to keep from molding or going bad. There are other foods that don't need to be refrigerated, including some that should never be. A refrigerator is a very specific, cool, dark environment that isn't for every kind of food item. After reading or listening to my list, you might need to make some more space in your pantry. Butter. According to the USDA, butter is safe at room temperature, but if it's left out for several days at room temperature, it can turn rancid, causing off-tasting flavors. The USDA does not recommend leaving it out more than 1 to 2 days. Margarine. Especially a soft tub margarine can separate into water and oil or water and solids if not kept refrigerated. Both margarine and buttery spreads shouldn't be left out, and should always be refrigerated immediately after use. Keep apples out of the cold. Apples can last a week or two at room temperature, but they start to get soft quickly if you keep them in the fridge. Also, apples can cause other fruits to ripen faster because of the natural gas that they emit. You don't want to trap all of that gas in your fridge with your other fruits and vegetables. Enzymes within apples become far more active at room temperature, making the apples more nutritious. Avocados will do better on the counter. The cold air causes avocados to ripen more slowly. Leave your avocados in a cool, dry place, like on your counter in the open air. Eat them before they get too ripe. There's nothing worse than an overripe avocado, unless you're making a dip. If your avocados are starting to get too ripe, you can put them in the fridge to slow down that process. Keep bananas out of the fridge. Bananas hold on to their nutrients better when they are kept out of the fridge. Cold temperatures actually slow down the ripening process, as with avocados. But there is a lot of moisture in most refrigerators which can cause bananas to turn brown or even black. If you really want to keep bananas around for a long time, slice them into small pieces and store them in plastic bags in the freezer. Frozen bananas are perfect for smoothies, and freezing them won't hurt a thing. Cucumbers do not do well when they're left in the fridge. They quickly become waterlogged and lose a lot of their flavor. Store your cucumber on your counter or in a pantry. Just don't forget that you left it there. They will become rotten in 7 to 10 days. If you want them cool because you want to put them on your eyes or something, then you can leave them in the fridge momentarily, or store slices of cucumber in ice water. Bread. Nothing dries out bread faster than leaving it in the refrigerator. At cold temperatures, bread will turn stale, dry, and tasteless. Also, bread acts as a kind of sponge, and it will soak up whatever odors are lingering around your fridge. To be safe, store leftover bread in a bread box. This closed-off box will keep moisture from escaping from your delicious bread. If you don't have a bread box, you can always store your bread in a microwave. Carrots. Carrots can actually rot and become waterlogged and droopy if they're left in the fridge for too long. You should store your carrots away from direct sunlight in a place with low moisture. If you're cutting up a bunch of carrots to serve alongside chicken wings or something, you can put them in a container of water and place that in the fridge, but only if you're going to eat them within a few hours. Chocolate. Many people like cold chocolate, but the ideal temperature for chocolate is actually between 65 and 68 Fahrenheit, which is much warmer than a refrigerator. Only store your chocolate in the fridge if you live in a very warm part of the world and your chocolate is at risk of melting completely. If you really love freezing cold chocolate, though, throw it in the freezer. Citrus fruits. Typically, a ripe fruit is a sweet fruit, which means that fruit that's kept at room temperature will ripen faster and develop more sweetness. Citrus fruit will be sour if it's not given enough time or space to ripen. Keep fruits like oranges, grapefruits, lemons, and limes out of the freezer. If you absolutely love cold oranges, store them outside of the fridge, but pop them into the fridge an hour or two before you want to eat them. Don't refrigerate leftover coffee. You can actually keep coffee in the fridge as long as it's in an airtight container. This goes for both coffee beans and leftover brewed coffee. Coffee beans need to be in a cool, dry place, and a fridge is cool, but not very dry. Brewed coffee can make everything else in your fridge smell like coffee, and if it's too hot, it can actually raise the temperature of your whole fridge, which is negative for all of the meat and dairy you have in there. Don't refrigerate tomatoes. If you learn one thing away from this bonus chapter, please do not store tomatoes in the fridge. These delicious, juicy red fruits thrive in cool, dry, airy environments. Leave them in a bowl on your counter. If you store tomatoes in the fridge, they'll quickly lose all of their flavor, texture, and nutrients. Tomatoes stored in the fridge will have a sort of sour taste. Eggs aren't kept in the fridge in some parts of the world. In some countries, eggs aren't kept in the refrigerator in grocery stores or in people's homes. That's how it's done in the UK. A study recently uncovered that it actually makes no difference whether or not you store your eggs in the fridge, so you might as well save yourself some fridge space. Not so in the US. Please keep in mind that the FDA recommends that eggs be kept in the fridge because they're usually washed of their protective coating. It's best to buy fresh or organic anyway. No flour in the fridge. We haven't met very many people who store wheat flour in the fridge, but just in case you were thinking about putting flour in the fridge, there is absolutely no reason to do so. Flour should be stored in a dry place and in an airtight container. You can put it in the fridge if you want, but it's just going to take up a lot of fridge space. Ketchup doesn't need to be stored in the fridge. Contrary to popular belief, ketchup doesn't actually need to be stored in the fridge, even after the bottle is opened. That's why all of those diners can just leave glass bottles of ketchup out on the tables for hours at a time. The stuff is absolutely full of preservatives. As long as you don't contaminate it, ketchup can last for a really long time. Now you don't need to worry when you're pouring it onto your burger. Don't put honey in the fridge. It may seem obvious to you, but you really shouldn't store honey in the refrigerator. The cold air will cause the honey to crystallize. If your honey does crystallize, just put the whole jar in warm water to dissolve the crystals. Honey is a natural preservative, so it doesn't need to be kept in the fridge or freezer for it to last a long time. Hot sauce. You have to remember that these products have a pretty long shelf life. They're full of natural preservatives like vinegar, and they often don't contain very many actual fruits or vegetables. You should store hot sauce away from direct sunlight and keep it in a cool, dry place like a pantry or a cupboard. If you're a hot sauce fan, you might just want to leave it on the table because you know you're going to use it again with your next meal. Keep your jam in the pantry. Jam is packed with preservatives, both natural and artificial, and it's literally built to last. Keeping it in the fridge won't make it last any longer. What will make it last longer is taking care not to contaminate your jam jar. If you're having jam with any kind of cheese like brie, don't use the same knife to spread your jam and cut your cheese. If you get any cheese in your jam jar, that will make it spoil faster. Pickles are already preserved. Pickles are full of natural preservatives like vinegar and salt, so you don't need to store them in the fridge. They can stay out of the fridge for 3 years even after they're opened. If you really like cold pickles, you can leave them in the fridge, but you don't have to store them in the fridge. Potatoes. Potatoes need to be kept in a cool, dry, and dark space at all times. Cold temperatures in your refrigerator will cause the starch in potatoes to turn into sugar faster. Also, make sure to take your potatoes out of the bag they came in as soon as you get them home. They need space to air out. Too much moisture will cause them to rot. Salad dressings don't need to be in the fridge. While salad dressings that contain dairy products like ranch dressing or blue cheese dressing do need to be kept in the fridge, many oil-based vinaigrettes can be kept out of the cold. Neither vinegar nor oil require refrigeration. Olive oil, some oils can actually harden when kept at cool temperatures. You can even make your own vinaigrette and store that at room temperature as well. Vinaigrette is known to be healthier for you than dairy-based dressings anyway. Note, if your vinaigrette contains garlic or lemon juice, it's best to store it in the fridge and use within 3 days. Strawberries need to be stored a specific way. Strawberries are tricky when it comes to storing them for later. If you plan to use them within 48 hours, it's best to leave them on your countertop. If you plan to use them in a few weeks, it's best to move them to the freezer. If you do want to put them in the fridge, then you should make sure they are in a single layer with the stems on. The stems will prolong their life, and by leaving them in one layer, you won't risk having one bad berry spoil the whole bunch. And yes, that does happen. Mustard can stay in the pantry. Mustard is similar to ketchup in that it can last longer outside of the fridge. In fact, mustard can last even longer than ketchup because it contains a natural acid that acts as a preservative. Mustard can last longer than you'd think, in or out of the fridge, but you don't need to take up fridge space with this condiment. Soy sauce doesn't go in the fridge. Soy sauce can live just fine in a pantry for up to 1.5 years. It doesn't need to be refrigerated because it's fermented. The fermentation process both makes the sauce delicious and allows it to stay fresher for longer. Remember, don't buy it if it's made in China. The fridge will make donuts stale. Just like with bread, storing donuts in the fridge will only dry them out and make them go stale faster. If you like cold donuts, you won't have long until they'll be cold and dry. Keep donuts on the counter or only buy as many as you know you will eat in a timely manner. Why buy a dozen if you're working from home and you're the only one eating them? Better yet, drop the rest off at the local police station. Vinegar preserves itself. If foods like pickles and salsas don't need to be kept in the fridge because of how much vinegar they contain, then it's only logical you also don't need to store vinegar in the fridge. There is so much acid in vinegar that it acts as its own preservative. Once you buy vinegar, you really don't need to worry too much about it until you need to use it. It's especially nice for making dressings. Other items not to put in the fridge unless the label says to: olive oil, watermelon, onions, pears, peppers, cantaloupe, canned tuna, pumpkins, peanut butter, spices, eggplant, pineapple, papaya, sweet potatoes, salami, aged cheese like Gouda, Gruyere, and cheddar, beef jerky, olives, crackers, also nuts. That will lose their flavor. Conclusion. First of all, there's nothing new here. Apple cider vinegar was used as a natural remedy for health problems for a very long period of time. In fact, it's an ancient remedy. It says that we're becoming more aware of those benefits these days, but they were always there. It's a rediscovery of an inexpensive, natural fix for many ailments. More people are trying to improve their life by making healthier and more natural choices these days, and that's why you'll see apple cider vinegar pretty much anywhere that there's a conversation about health, food, and natural remedies. Many websites and natural healthcare proponents claim that apple cider vinegar has exceptional health benefits, including boosting energy and minimizing ailments and disease. It also has various other non-health-related uses, including use as a cleaning agent. That said, some studies also suggest it may offer some benefits, including killing bacteria, lowering blood sugar levels, and promoting weight loss. Apple cider vinegar appears to be safe as long as you don't take excessive amounts of it. So, drink the drink, and it will be that simple.